All right, in this video, we are going to talk about transitions. Okay, so there's three types of transitions in Playback. The ones that I use anyways. There's overlap. So if the song is in the same key from Passions to Promises, for example, I'm just gonna let the songs overlap and go straight from one to the other. If they're not in the same key, I'll use the crossfade. Sometimes if they're not in the same key, but they're relative to each other, like if it's a G to C, that's not a bad change. But if we're going B flat to D, I'll use the crossfade so that it completely fades out Promises before it fades in Great Are You Lord. And that way you have no overlap and the pads don't overlap or the song endings don't overlap with the beginnings of the next one. If the song needs to stop, then we just do a cue up, cue next song transition. That means that it's going to cue this song, but it's not going to play it. So we use those when the worship set is over and we're going to go back on stage after the sermon. Now, if that's on and when it's not supposed to be, and you're like, why did the set list stop? You can just click on that transition and choose an overlap or a crossfade transition. Now, if your question is, well, the transition is too long, there's no way to change the timing of a transition, but we can change when the transition starts. So for example, on Promises here, if I go and scroll all the way to the end, you'll notice that the ending is super long. This is a 4 plus 7 is 11 second like wash at the end of this song, trash can at the end of this song. So what we can do is we could actually just go to like, maybe we'll just do it for 5 seconds. We'll go to 5:01. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, so now my cursor just, is at 5:01. I can know from up here and I see that it's right there. I'm going to go to edit. I'm going to hit the 3 dots on the song that I'm doing, and I am going to say end point. So instead of it being 5:07, I'm going to set it to the current spot. So now you can see it says 5:01. I also will always click the 5-second fade out. That way it just doesn't just completely stop the song right there with all that cymbals and swelling from the rest of the band. Instead, we want it to fade out. If we're doing it in the middle of a set list and it's crossfading or transitioning to another song, it'll automatically fade anyways, so it's not important. But it's not a bad idea to just keep that there just in case if we add that song to the end of a set list so that it doesn't just stop abruptly. But that's how we can shorten a transition. Now, another thing you might want to do in your transition is maybe you don't like the dead space in between a transition, so you want to add a pad. Well, that you would go here, start pad with song, click on that, but we don't want the pad to play through the whole song, so we're just going to choose intro and outro only. That's normally the setting that I like to use. That way we have a pad in between the songs. Now, you'll have to set it on the first song so that it plays at the outro, but then you'll also want to set the pad on the next song. So I'm going to go here and do the same thing. Click on Promises, scroll down, start pad with song, but I'm going to do intro and outro only. That way the pad plays at the intro. So therefore the pad will play at the outro of Promises and the outro of Prodigals and the intro of Promises, and we'll have a nice smooth transition with pad playing through the whole entire part of it. So that's a great way to add a pad to your transition. That's pretty much all we can do in Playback with our transitions.